So in this video, I'm going to start talking about the consequences of that I experienced from childhood abuse that I experienced. As a teen, I had a really tough time. Um, I would just walk through the door and I would get beat up, and it was on a daily. And the beating would get even more intense with biting marks, and my mom didn't even care to disguise the beating. She would, in the past, she would hide it in the back, places you don't see, but she stopped caring and she would do it on the arms, on the neck, and so it got worse and worse, and it was a very, very difficult time for me. It even got to a point when she would hand me uh, a knife, like a big knife, and she would ask me to kill herself. She wants me to see that I kill myself in front of her. So I wanted to die at that time. I really wanted to commit suicide, but I was really struggling because I didn't want to die. But the situation was so horrible, and I didn't see a way out. But I knew that time must pass, and at some point in time I'll be free. But at that time, when I was like around 16, it was really, really bad. And so the consequences I suffered, the big ones, were I started smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day of Marlboro Reds, and I started being anorexic. I did both as a way of signaling to my mom that something was wrong. But I guess I also tried, in a way, in a slow way, I tried to kill myself through anorexia. That's my baby in the background. Um, it In the beginning, I was in control of it, of the anorexia, or so I felt. Uh, and little by little, it spun out of control to a point that I stopped eating entirely. I stopped eating. I didn't eat for like, I think, a month and a half. Nothing went into my mouth except for coffee to have energy to go around. And I got to a point that I couldn't lay down in bed. Like, I couldn't lay down at night. I had to sit because the heart beating was so fast. In addition, I used to take pills. I took like I would swallow like some slimming pills of some sort, or vitamins that are known to affect the metabolism. I would swallow a whole bottle of pills a day. I was lucky that nothing happened to me. My mom realized at some point that I was anorexic, and she told me that she couldn't care less. And that's it. And then I realized that I'm in a problem because she's not going to help me. And if I'm going to get out of it, I have to get out of it by myself. But I was already in a situation that I stopped eating. And I also, it's a vicious cycle because when you stop eating, you feel invincible. You feel, oh, I'm so much stronger than those immortals that eat. I can overcome the instinct of survival and feeding myself. I'm so strong-minded, and it gives you a sense of control. It gave me a sense of control in my reality that was out of control. And so it was very powerful, and a part of me didn't want to let it go. But I knew that I knew by the heart beating that I could not lay down, that if I'm not going to do something soon, that I will probably die. Because I knew it was a bad sign. So what I did was I realized that there's an upside to anorexia. It means that I have a very strong will, that I'm very strong-minded if I want to be. And so as I stopped eating, I can put myself back into eating if I decide to. But I did it so gradually, because I didn't eat anything for a month and a half. So I started with like literally with a crumb, and then I increased it to 2 crumbs, and like little by little, like small amounts that were gradually increased, until I got into like some sort of a normal portion of a meal that is still small, but I still got to a point that I'm already starting to nourish myself. That's how I overcame it, and I think if people understand that, who are anorexic, they can help themselves get out of it, because they have a very strong power, sense of will, and they can will themselves also for healing if they harness that their sense of will. And that's how I got out of the anorexia, by myself. And the smoking continued until I was 20. This was one side of two sides effect. Another thing I endured was I had such a low self-esteem, or low confidence, that I would walk in the street facing downwards, and I wear really baggy clothes so nobody will notice me, and it was difficult to ready to function, because to go on a bus, I was so insecure to even pay the driver the 5 shekels I needed to pay in order to go on the bus. And I knew that if I continue like this, I will be really limited in the world. Like, it will really limit me, and I had to overcome it. But I would sit literally for an hour convincing myself and replaying it over and over in my head that I will quickly pay the driver and quickly take a seat, and nobody will notice me, and I will do it as fast as I can. And it still was difficult. It's such a basic function. So what helped me, how I helped myself with that, is I would imagine, while I was waiting for the bus, I would imagine that I had a blue sparkly light, and that sparkly light that was showering me gave me a temporary confidence to pay the driver of the bus to get on the bus. And for some reason it helped. For some reason it worked. And that's what I did. And later I learned that nobody really pays attention. Most people are really focused on themselves anyway, so I shouldn't worry about how I look too much or what I wear too much, because people don't care. They only care about themselves mostly. So that really released a lot for me. I also used to study people how they walk. I would study how people walked, confident people versus non-confident people, and I would try to emulate that, faking it. And I would really study it. I can't explain. I would see that their chest was open, and how they moved their feet on the ground, and I would just sit for hours and observe, and I would observe people walking, different people walking, and I would just, in a way, take notes, and little by little, I integrated it into my own walk. And now, being a massage therapist, I'm so aware of posture, and so I really work on strengthening my back and and opening the chest area. And so for me, walking upright is very important from posture point of view, because otherwise it causes problems in the spine, wear and tear. So now I'm walking upright, but it took me many years to get there, and it's a long process, and you need to take that into account, that everything is a long process. It's like one step forward, two steps back, but you're still moving forward, even though you don't feel that way, and you're still learning, and it's a long process. So this is a few of the consequences and how I got out of it as a teenager. One more thing. Because I really wanted to die, and I really wanted to commit suicide, and I was struggling, trying not to. What I did, since I didn't have people around me to really talk with, I went to the library of my high school, and I took, as being Jewish, I took a bunch of books about the Holocaust. I read everything I could lay my hands on about the Holocaust in the library. And I guess I wanted to understand evil and why people would hurt each other. And I was very fortunate to stumble upon the book of Man's Search of Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And I took two things from this book. The first one was he is a psychologist that viewed who survived in the same circumstances of the camp, who survived and who died and why. And I took from it that you can have a scientific state of mind even in the most horrible conditions. And I applied it in my life ever since. I really absorbed it into myself, and it helped me make simple practical tools that work to get out of my dire situation. So that's what I did. I took that scientific state of mind with me. In addition, it said that the conclusion of the book, spoiler, is the people who survived are the people who had something or someone to live for. Something could be a book they have to write, or they're like a life mission they have to do. Someone, it could be they want to meet again their wife or a husband, or they wanna have children, or they wanna something like that. So that's what I took from it, and so I started volunteering. Already as a teenager, I started volunteering with very extreme cases. I started volunteering in the building with a boy who was all burned, who had like severe scars from burning, and he was very disfigured. And the volunteering gave me a sense of purpose and gave me a sense of wanting to live. I suddenly didn't want to die, because I felt like somebody is happy when he sees me, and somebody needs me, and I can make his life better. And it also gave me perspective to my life. We go through difficult things, but also other people go through difficult things, and we can be helpful to each other. And it helped me build, little by little through the years, it helped me build self-esteem or self-confidence. It helped me find the meaning and trust in my abilities. Plus, when you volunteer, you learn a lot of skills, and you're surrounded by people who are kind and like-minded. And so I really recommend volunteering. I think it's the most powerful thing you can do to help yourself overcome your own hardships, your own traumas. It just gets you out of yourself. You can't get too stuck within your own trauma. You have to get out of it and reach out to others. And I know it sounds weird. It's like, I'm in trouble. Why would I want to help somebody else? I need help. Well, I think this is the best way to get out of it. I think no help, external help that you're going to get is going to be as powerful as you being active and helping another person who needs help. It makes you feel strong and powerful and meaningful and finding a meaning to life. And I think it's the best, the most important message I can send out is to volunteer. And I volunteered from age 16 till age 33, till the end of my pregnancy at age 33, nonstop. Very extreme cases. And it did very good in my life. I only stopped when I brought kids because I had to focus on my kids. But I'm planning to go back to that again. But I think it's the most important thing a person can do to help himself. So hopefully you will implement that in your life too.